Alright, so we're going to kick in here with the halftime show. Now, this game had a Chris Berman-led halftime show, but in this case it was only little snapshots of players. In the next game, it would be full-on highlight reels. So, you know, a little bit difference, a little build-on between the games. Of course, Berman is retiring from ESPN after this year. So, you know, this is, at some point, relatively soon, this is going to be a relic of a bygone age, along with Eric Moulds being the player of the half. And, of course, we know that Eric Moulds' player of the half status is only based on 2 catches for 70 yards in the first half, including a touchdown on a Hail Mary play and another Hail Mary play that set up a field goal. So, yeah, that seems like a reasonable summary of the game. As we move into the second half now, we are going to get the kickoff here, and I think that, again, I think this is Chris Carter, but I'm not really sure why I'm not playing him at wide receiver if it is, or at least why he's not more prevalent at wide receiver. One thing about the NFL 2K models over the Madden models, the NFL 2K guys are always look more svelte. You know, they always look more streamlined. They're less chunky. I don't know if that makes them any more realistic. But there you go. Right, we're going to try to run that strong toss play. I'm not sure Kevin Barlow has the speed necessary to really pull that off. I mean, we pulled it off the first time we used it. We haven't really had an opportunity to succeed with it since. And here I'm going to go back to that little conservative passing play to Andre Johnson. Unfortunately, I'm going to get sacked by, I think, Warren Sapp. Nope, I take it back. That's Jason Taylor. They have a number of guys who are number 99, including Chris Hovan. So it's really hard to keep track of who their guys are. All right, so this is not a very good punt. And one thing, you know, my kicking game has been pretty subpar. And in this case, it caused an injury to one of my linebackers, Marcus Steele. Marcus Steele was a player for the Cowboys who I had some attraction to based on using him in the Dreamcast 2K games at the Cowboys franchise. And actually, you know, getting his stats up to a fairly good degree. Okay, so Tony Gonzalez slips by our coverage and gets the first down there. And again, we're trying to avoid the comeback. Okay, I'm trying to find which defensive lineman I like to use the best. I've been getting a lot better pressure for some reason with the defensive tackles than the defensive ends. And I don't remember if it was this game or or its successor, where for some reason I was really good with Brinson Buckner, because who played for the Panthers at that time. That doesn't necessarily make any real sense. Okay. Didn't pick the ball off, but we did keep the pass from going into the hands of the guy, courtesy of Dexter Jackson, the Super Bowl MVP, the year the Tampa Bay Bucks won the Super Bowl. And there they go inside to Marshall Faulk, but we do get the stop, courtesy of Trufant. and they're going to punt. However, they were in that sort of range where you might go for it, and I guess I've been playing, I guess my mind's still stuck in the college mode. Because it's a little bit dangerous to stick a guy back there to return it who may not have a very good carry rating, because that's a good way to get fumbles or to muff punts. So we're basically not quite back where we started. We're gonna run a weak side ISO, and got kind of hung up on my own lineman there and didn't get quite where I wanted to go. Here I'm going to run a draw play. Haven't thrown the ball a lot, but there's a big gap on my left I'm hoping to exploit. And you can see I managed to get 10 yards by climbing over my tackler. Okay, here's a toss over to the left, and couldn't quite get far enough to the outside to get away from Junior Seau. Not a play I'm necessarily a fan of because I went away from my blocking, and I sent Mike Anderson to the other side, and my rushing average is slowly declining at this point. And then this happened. What that was is that my wide receiver got bumped on the line, and I threw it to him anyway, not realizing that happened. And so in the end, I didn't throw it toward my receiver at all, but into three coverage guys. So as Chris Berman would have said, I fought the law, and the law won. That was Ty Law with the pick. All right, so now my 7-point lead is all of a sudden not as safe as it was when I was, running at like 4 yards a clip and not really worried about what happened. So Teddy Bruschi manages to knock down Tony Gonzalez there on the coverage. Okay, they do a rollout play, and they find Gonzalez for a big gain. Now you'll notice that a lot of the offense has started all of a sudden going to Gonzalez here in the third quarter. Since they're on the 3-yard line, I'm going to go into my 4-4 set and just hope that that's enough guys in the box to hold them off. They've got Mike Allstott, so I know that they'll do some short yardage running stuff. And then they try to throw it to Randy Moss. Despite them doing that, I'm staying in the 4-4 set. I've just got to make sure that I'm careful not to leave myself too exposed in the backside of the defense. All right, so this time they do give it to Allstott, and we got enough guys to hit him that we got him down before he could get in. Now they're on the 2-yard line, so I'm still going to leave a couple guys back in coverage, but they're set up in a double tight end set here. You would think that they would run the ball. And they try to send in Marshall Faulk, and we stop him. Blaine Bishop is excited. Now, they've chosen the field goal. In fact, I could probably have seen that, but I went ahead and did a 4-4 defense anyway, just in case. So that pick is going to set up, a 4-point game, 7 seconds left to go in the third quarter. I really need to do something to extend the lead, or at least get that field goal back in order to protect myself from a touchdown being scored randomly. Because remember, I'm playing an all-star team here, so they've got all kinds of weapons at wide receiver. Bolden got away from one guy. Unfortunately, there were a bunch of other guys before anything else could happen. So we got 1 second left, and we're just going to run a running play here. You can see we've got our blockers loaded on the left side. And, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I guess I hit the wrong button. If you want the quarterback to run the ball, you have to press the right trigger. That was not what I was trying to do there. So now it's 2nd down and 9, which is, not moving the sticks the way you want to move the sticks. You want to gain about 3 yards per play, and you can keep things going at a pretty good pace, particularly when you're not too confident in your ability to throw deep strikes. Okay, we found Andre Johnson here, and he's going to take off from that guy, and then he's even going to build a little bit of distance on his way to a big touchdown reception. Yeah, I was a big Andre Johnson fan when he, in his early years in the league. In fact, I was kind of hoping the Panthers might look into picking him up last offseason. At this point, Johnson's sort of playing off the string. He doesn't quite have the speed he once had. He's still 6'4" and built really nicely.
Here's the extra point, and it's good.
All right, so that touchdown got us a little bit more distance, and now I'm going to kick the ball high, since kicking it long doesn't seem to be working for me. I'm going to try to see if I can kick it up in the air as much as I can so the coverage can get down there. And it doesn't really work there either. And that's when I learned for the first time that Tim Dwight, the good returner for the Chargers and the Falcons back during this period of time, was the other punt returner, or the other kick returner. So it's a good thing that I wasn't kicking it in his direction. All right, so they're sending Allstott now, which I don't know how much sense that makes. I mean, Mike Allstott sort of has this reputation of being, an unstoppable force when he was in the league, or at least at this period of time when he was in the league. And his run power rating and maybe his break tackle rating were always pretty big in the games that he was in. And he's a Purdue guy, which I have some connections to Purdue. I'm not an alum, but let's just say I'm closely related to alums. So we always have to give those guys the benefit of the doubt. All right, going into a cover 3 set here, and Favre finds Falk under the defense. They give them the first down, so I went ahead and challenged spot of the ball. And this is the one thing I don't like about modern NFL video games, starting with this one, is you're playing on a computer. A computer can be precise about ball positioning and where things are in ways that humans cannot. So why should I ever have to use a challenge I mean, this guy's clearly a yard short, but they gave him the first down anyway, just to see if I was paying enough attention to challenge. I mean, that's just stupid. In real life, I can understand that because you're not really sure, referees are making judgment calls and that kind of thing. But this is a computer-based system. There are better ways to do it, and just to include challenges in the game, to force you to use them. That's just a little ridiculous. Okay, Derek Brooks blows up the fourth down play, and we're able to get the ball back on first down. And we should be in pretty decent field position here on the 40-yard line. With 3:31 to go, I'm looking to run some clock here. I'm also looking to get into the end zone one more time. That will seal the game for me. So, 5 yards from Barlow here.
Look at the yards after the first hit. That's how you
41 yards after the first hit. Oh, well. Okay, we get 3 more yards. Looking at 3rd and 2. And, I was really kind of disappointed that I couldn't run across any fullback plays, because I was a big fan of Mike Anderson, the Denver fullback here that's on that we have on the roster. Running the little clock. And we get Barlow, and it looks like he should have had the first down. Again, I guess I could challenge the spot, but instead what I'm going to do is run it down to the 2-minute warning. And I'm thinking about just trying to sneak it here. I realize that a draw play doesn't sound like a sneak, but I'm not actually going to do the draw part of the play. So they went into a 4-3 defense last time. This time they've gone to a 3-4 and kind of put a guy right where I would have gone, and then they shift him. So I'm like, okay, I know exactly where I'm going. And then Steve McNair is built compactly enough that I can get that. I mean, he's tall enough and he's compact enough. Maybe the better word is heavy enough that I know I can get that to work. All right, I finally find a fullback running play. And this is the old split H-back formation. This is what I used a lot in the next game, 2K5. And you can see that the Swamis are utilizing their timeouts.
second down, 8 yards to go.
All right, now we're going to run to the other side with Barlow, and we get about 2 more yards. And at that point, the Swamis are out of timeouts, and if we can just get a first down, we can pretty much end this game. We might be in field goal range, but if you've been watching me kick, I don't think you'll agree that that's necessarily the best idea. Barlow burst through for about 12 more yards, and now it's not really an issue of whether or not we're going to kick. No, if you'll note, he's got 78 rushing yards. There's no way to get him to 100 yards based on how much field is left and how much time is left. So we're just going to run clock. I'm not going to toy around with the score here. You can send a man in motion for the first time all game. And this is just to get an extra blocker over here on the left side, which is where I'm going to send Barlow. And he picks up 2 yards and doesn't really get very much. All right, and now we're just going to clock the ball. I'm going to wait for the clock to get down under 25 seconds so I know that it will run out on the next play. You got Eric Molds playing safety back here in the formation. All right, and we can just run it out from here. So no need for us to touch anything or line up again. We'll just let the clock run. And we will be victorious at a 24-13 score over the Swamis, which were Chris Berman's hand-picked all-star team. Again, this is Chris Berman's last. This upcoming season will be Chris Berman's last year at ESPN, and while his prime was earlier than, has not been recent. He was kind of cool way back in the day. I would say about 20 years ago was the best of Chris Berman. So I'll see you guys later.